Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Insurance Dad podcast, the show where we explore the art of balancing business, family, and everything in between. I'm your co-host, Matt Sutika, along with my partner in crime, Jeff Shee, and our featured guest, Sarah Reeves. What we like to talk about on this podcast is the struggles, the triumphs, the rewarding moments of wearing two hats, building a successful career or business, but also raising a family. It's a unique journey, and this podcast is all about celebrating it. Each episode, we sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and parents to share real deal personal stories. But let's just face it, life isn't about the hustle. Here on Insurance Dads, we go beyond the business and connect what truly matters. So join us as we dive in with our new guest, Anthony Gruppo. Anthony, thank you for stopping by.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. I've been looking forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Anthony and I have gotten to connect a lot, and I'll give you the high level. He is serial entrepreneur. He's been CEO both here and over the pond. He's got foundations. He is sitting on the board. He's wrote books. He's got this amazing, if you check it out, LinkedIn background. But what we're really going to concentrate on, and what I want to lead off with, Anthony, is tell us who you are as the entrepreneur and a little bit of the other things that go with it.
No, thank you. So to make it really simple, I'm a work in progress. I'm a few weeks short of turning 70, and I have to tell you that I'm still working on getting it right. And I think that all of your guests can appreciate that, is that we're successful because of the people around us, right? I'm very blessed with my family, and Linda, my partner, and my wife are Anthony and Tara, and our three granddaughters, Cecilia, Marina, and Ansley. So I think for like all of us, right, we're playing the game the best we can to help those we love. So work in progress and just trying to make a difference where you can.
I love that. I love that. Well, talk to us. What's the work you have going on right now?
Yeah, so there's a couple different areas. As you mentioned, I serve as executive chair for Vantage Insurance Partners out of New York. I live here in Florida. We also have the Gruppo Family Foundation that we have a real love of helping young children, especially adults as well, but with autism, and then senior programs. So when Linda and I came back from living in London for 3 years, we started the foundation. We founded it and funded it ourselves, and really lucky. Tara, our daughter, is the chair of the board, and we try to be impactful. Always have. Although I said this after my 8th book, I said, "Oh, I'll never write another one. That's it. That's 8's done." But people keep banging at you, so I don't have one in the works, but you never know for sure.
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, you hit on about 3 or 4 things that I definitely want to dive into, but what's near and dear to my heart, and so I'll start there, is talk to me a little bit about the autism and the board. I know you and I connected early on at a breakfast, and our business meeting turned real quick into talking about my son who has autism, and about how your daughter's connected with a certain school and it's right down the road from me. And next thing you know, that's where my kid is now and thriving. And so, truth be told, you and I have a little bit deeper connection than just business. And I'm so glad that my entrepreneur journey and your entrepreneur journey met really to help my kid more than any dollars we make together. So talk to me a little bit about that foundation. What are you guys working on? And, just really what made you first started outside of, I think, having the close relationship with someone, what was that determining factors?
Yeah, so there are two that started. One is as a producer and as an executive in the insurance business. My clientele was behavioral health. I did a lot of not-for-profit clients all over the country, built programs, and from everything from Boys and Girls Town, Nebraska, to small, local not-for-profits. So Linda and I and the family were around disadvantaged families. And I remember coming back from a business trip many years ago. We were 20 plus years now. And Linda had received a call that there was a young lady that needed a foster home. And we were not foster parents. And, she said she's 14 years old, and she needs help. So we became foster parents. And it was probably one of the greatest gifts we could have received, as well as our own children, to have that type of opportunity. And I think we probably received more than we gave because of that, being able to see what struggles families have. And I knew it because I was in the business of ensuring it. But when you actually have that situation close to home. And then our oldest granddaughter, who's 16 now, Ansley, is autistic. And she goes to a shout out to Pinnacle Academy in Bradenton because they're phenomenal.
Yes.
And, again, just a blessing, right? Because just the most, I guess, as leaders, we read books or write books or go to seminars or we watch our careers, but sometimes we just don't watch humanity right around us.
Mhm.
And to see a child who's always happy, who's always loving, who always has time to be around a senior citizen, I realized that to wait to make a difference, you make no difference at all. So we decided to, make sure that we were philanthropic and always giving back to the community best we could. And when we came back from living overseas, we started the foundation. We are overwhelmed with the number of requests. It's incredible, the need that's out there. So I guess we received a lot more gifts than we gave in life. And I would say to the audience that you're more ready than you think to make a difference in lives.
I love that. I mean, it's one of my biggest moments was that breakfast, and because you guys had that foundation and the knowledge, because as an entrepreneur, which we're all about on this podcast of talking about how we feel and react. My wife does so much, and by so much I mean I'll give myself 1%, right? She's finding the doctor, she's making sure meds are there, she's getting us into programs, and as an entrepreneur I feel bad about that because my job is to put in the 100 hours and bring the money in, and do those things. I'm I'm not helping my kid. And so the fact that my business connected me with you, and I was the one who kind of helped then get my kid into a school was just phenomenal for me as an entrepreneur because I finally, and now my wife's you bring it up too much. I get it. You did one great thing, but it felt so good for me to help my kid through what I was doing as an entrepreneur. And I, you said you funded that foundation yourself. That's a big piece, right? That probably gets misled is that if you didn't do what you did in your career and work as hard as you did and be as successful as you were, yes, you can always help. You can help without a dollar, but also because of what you did is making huge impacts, to a life. And that's got to feel pretty good as well. I would imagine, being able to flip what you've done in your career now into, helping others or your family and passion, and I think that goes unnoticed a lot of times.
Yeah, I was going to ask
Thank
you,
you.
Anthony,
Yes,
how that translates, I mean, obviously having this amazing career in the insurance industry and just the professional realm, but then building this foundation, was it more difficult than you thought it was going to be? Was it easier? I know the emotional impact of it, and obviously on your person and your self-development, but, how was that transition? Or I know you're doing both at the same time. So how do you manage that?
Thank you for watching this video. Now a quick message from our sponsor, MAV.
Thanks, Jeff. I want to let you all in on a secret that top producing agencies don't want you to know about. If you're in P&C insurance, you know firsthand how much you're getting squeezed by your call center. It's becoming less predictable and less economically profitable to scale. But here's the thing. The top producing agencies making over $100 million are not running their leads through a human-based call center. They're running them through an AI expert like MAV to qualify, quote, and hand deliver the highest intent qualified leads to your agents. MAV takes care of the back and forth, having unlimited 24/7 conversations with your leads that are personal and relevant so you can scale to the moon. Ready to ditch your call center and 10x your agency? We're giving the listeners of InsureTech's $15,000 worth of credit to try MAV. Head to hiremav.com/InsureTechs to claim this offer.
I just didn't find it difficult at all. There are places like the Sarasota Community Foundation Association that will help you manage these types of things, and they'll help you with the legal and the vetting of organizations and handling all the tax laws that go into place. Because Here's the sad thing. There are a lot of people who start a foundation, and I think they start them with good intentions. But why is Congress taking tougher stances on these things? Because sometimes they take the tax advantage, but they don't give out the money, or they don't give it out consistently. So you have to know that you're going to have to make sure that the coffers stay full. But so I didn't find it difficult, at all. But again, like, Tara and Linda are key to the support of that, and our son Anthony. And there are people with such difficulties, that the little barriers that we whine about or create drama around, they're nothing. They're nothing compared to what people have to go through in their lives, right? Like Linda and I talked about all the time, living in the United Kingdom, how it was. I remember being on the tube one day. We had just got there. I think it was our first week, and I'm like, I've lost my mind. What am I doing? Like, what am I doing coming over here to be an international CEO with 3,000 employees in 4 different countries, and I can't even figure out how to get from London to, I was going up on the tube, and Linda's like, okay, look, you're just having a moment, it's different. Well, yeah, it's different because, like, now it's a different country, but you don't know where the food is. You can't, all this, everything's different.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, but look at people who are just totally displaced in their lives, war-torn countries, people that lose everything, not just hurricanes, but they lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what's unfortunate is sometimes in the course of a day, we meet people who seem to have everything, but have lost everything. They have lost their purpose. They've lost their way. They just become their job. Their identity is focused around their accolades versus just lifting others up. So as a leader, what I always try to do is realize that every decision I made as a CEO or senior leader is impacted thousands of people and their families. That for every family that you're responsible for, a colleague that works with you, there are 3 or 4 other people in that household impacted. So I thought about how it impacts my own family, and then all the families that we serve as leaders, servant leaders to those communities and those colleagues. And you take yourself out of the agenda. You don't think about everything that comes your way and say, how's this going to impact me? What do I have to do now? What pressure will I be under? Wrong answer. Take yourself out of the agenda, and you lead for the safety and security of others. And then it's real easy.
How did you balance that, Andy? Because you hit one thing that struck me as identifying that the business is who I am. I've struggled with that, and identifying there. And so tell me, because you've had different phases of your life, probably working before kids, with kids, kids out of the house. How did you balance that, or how did you not maybe balance it? Like what was that like for you? Because I know for me, it's a struggle every day.
Yeah, every day. And I wish to tell you that, you don't get it right away. That's why I started, and I will always tell you that it's a work in progress, depending on the pressures or how you age or how things impact. Look, I was a blue collar kid. I worked on construction in my late teens, early 20s. I repoed cars then. I was a repo guy for a loan company. I chased people to pay their debts. They had an insurance business and said, hey, Anthony, how'd you like to sell life insurance and automobile and homeowners door to door on straight commission? I'm like, sure. People will be trying to blow up my car. Yeah, I'm good. Sure. I love insurance. Sounds great. And then, you keep going from there. So there were those times in your early part of your career where you just think you've arrived or you made it, or all of a sudden the cars you can afford or the homes or you think, oh, this must be it. I was so wrong. Wasn't it at all? And what did it matter? And then as you keep progressing, and especially when you live in another country, everyone's just trying to take care of their families. Everyone just wants to go home and be safe. People are concerned about healthcare and politics and taxes and whatever it is, no matter what country you're in. And then I started to see all our similarities of humanity, not our differences. I wanted to be there with them, because that was the essence of it all. It wasn't the title. It wasn't the cars. It wasn't the homes. It was the essence of that.
What keeps you, I think you've mentioned to me, is it 2 or 3 times that you've went into retirement, came out,
No,
on
stop
that
saying
same
this two or
lines,
three
right?
times. Oh my God, I'm like not 98 and a half years old. That wasn't two or three
Well,
times.
you might,
No,
you got a
no,
good background.
no.
You might have been done the first time at 45,
Come on. When we came back from being an expat, at that time it's like 60. And I was like, yeah, that's good. We're done. We're done. Ed, I will tell you what Linda said. When the opportunity came up to go, we were going to finish it up in New York City. I was the CEO for Marsh McLennan Agency there, of the Northeast part of the United States. We were just going to finish it there. And one day I get a call and said, hey, Anthony, we got a situation over the United Kingdom. How'd you like to go over there? I'm like, yeah, I'm 65. And they're like, we don't care. And when Linda and I talked about it, she said, look, you've always looked at a challenge or an adventure, and it's been great. But if you're telling me that you don't want another one, then we finish it here. But if you want one more, let's go to London. So you have to have the right person around. You just have to have, everyone needs a Linda. So,
Love that.
I love that.
so then we came back like, okay, that's it. This is it. And then, the phones ring and stuff happens. So then it's like, okay. And Linda's like, so you get to live here in Bradenton, and we go to New York once a month, and you're chairman of the board. I'm like, yeah. She goes, that sounds fun. So, it's kind of it. And then, you do stuff.
So
Yes,
tell
it's
me a little
right.
bit of,
It's an energy. I meet people all
Yeah.
day. I mean, here's what I meet all day. I meet busy people. Oh, they're so busy. Oh my God, Anthony, I'm so busy. And you talk to a 5-year-old, busy, 12-year-old, busy. Everybody's so busy. Yeah, but here's the problem. Are you productive? Are you animated? Are you energetic in everything that you do? Are you just busy? Because you
I'm
don't need any
guilty of
talent
that
to be
one too.
busy.
Yeah.
You really don't.
That's awesome. Well, tell me about Linda. Maybe, you keep bringing her up. She's the backbone. Give me some details on her. It seems like she's been just as much a part of the career of Anthony as Anthony's been, if not maybe more.
Yeah, we're both Pennsylvania kids. Didn't know each other growing up until we met in business. She's just the kindest, most compassionate person. Tara is my stepdaughter. Met Tara when she was 5. Tara's my daughter, and Linda and I, 41 years. I count the dating years, by the way. Linda does not. She only counts the married years, but I count the dating years. So I roll it up to 41.
I like it. I like it.
Let's go. So now you have 2 anniversaries, though. You have a dating anniversary and a
We
married
do.
anniversary, because I would have to take advantage of that.
We do, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you this, that Linda beat me in a sales contest. So Linda was in the insurance business as well. Yes, she was. And she had the plaque, would show it to the kids. Remember when I beat that? So yes, get this though. She was a personal lines producer. Yeah, relentless. And yeah, I came in second. She did win the trip.
Wow. So
Did
have
she
you
take
guys
you?
always, sorry,
She did take me on a trip. I won the cash. She won the trip. It was awesome. And by the way, that's how, it was then like, oh, Anthony and Linda are dating. That's because at
That's when
that
the
point,
dating years began. I
like
got you.
who you taking? Well, I'm taking Anthony. Why?
That's
so
awesome.
great.
What was it? Take me through. You've wrote. Is it 8 books, 6 books?
8
8
books,
books. 8 books. So what? Because I assume it got maybe easier from a standpoint of just knowing the logistics of putting a book together after. What was the first one like, and what
Yeah.
got you started writing the first one?
The first one, Creating Reality, was I really regret that I tried so hard to finish it before my father passed away. He was suffering with ALS, and I tried. I couldn't finish in time. What a great man, a welder by trade, formerly uneducated, yet he was such a loved man. So Creating Reality started it took different variations because it was the first one. And as my editor will tell you, that sometimes my books have great emotion, but my grammar makes them cry more. So it took me 23 rewrites on Creating Reality because it kept changing, and it came out to be a journey, but also a training manual, a guide to personal accomplishment, things like that. Yeah, I mean, it was each one of them is an extremely humbling experience because they're so difficult. But then people start to tell you their story, and I realize as I'm traveled the country doing book signings or speaking engagements or wherever I was doing, is that everybody has a book inside of them. As with Dr. Jocelyn Elders, the former Surgeon General of the United States, Sharecropper's daughter, Object Poverty. She and I shared a stage together in Baltimore. 1,000 people. I actually missed my cue to start speaking because she was so impactful, so powerful, that she literally looked over me. She's like, go ahead. Yeah. So I've had the honor of just meeting some of the greats around the world. Everybody's got a book in them. So yeah, I did one with Nick Bollettieri, the international tennis coach, on they wanted to see what would happen if you took somebody that coached business leaders and somebody that coached professional athletes, what we would look like if we matched up together. I did 6 Degrees of Impact with Monique Tahar, the Dutch psychologist who went on to have great success in a lot of areas, and other stuff. And then my most recent was Pen and the Lens, which was my poetry. We released my poetry. Gemma Southall out of the UK, extreme sport enthusiast and cyclist. She did the photography, and that's probably my most fun one. That was when I sweat the most. I'm like, and my publisher's like, just do it, Anthony. Just do it. Just release it. If not now, when? So, but people liked it. So yeah.
That was your most fun one, or the one that was most
That
liked?
was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of angst though, because you put that stuff out there. But they all have each book has its own personality. I just wish that I had.
You have book number 9 in you?
Yeah, but I think this is it.
Anthony, I've been looking forward to this interview for so long, since literally Matt and I started
Very
talking
kind, Jeff.
about
Thank you.
doing a podcast, and I was like, I need you to make like a list of 20 people that who you are impressive, got great stories that will show up on the podcast. And he said Anthony, and I got Anthony, and I got Anthony, right? So
Thank you.
the whole time while everyone, talking about your story and asking you questions, I just been doing a little bit of digging on the other monitor I have over here. Let's talk about Marsh, right? And USI. USI is right now top 100 brokers, ranked number 7 at 2.7 billion revenues. You were there for a long time, and you were basically part of the rise of USI, and you were president at the USI Fort Lauderdale, and then you went over to Marsh for 6 years, and then while you're at Marsh, this is like a key point for Marsh as well. Today, if you're listening, want to understand how big Marsh is, there are 85,000 colleagues in 130 countries. Total revenue in 2023 is at 22.74 billion. And the UK division was 3.26, which is a significant amount out of the 130 countries. They didn't send you to a little place. They sent you to a significant part of their revenue in UK to continue to grow, and you grew it while you were there by 9% plus. I don't want to misquote you. Could be more, but at least that's what AI told me, AI overview. And then you just decide, you know what, I'm going to keep on building. You're a builder by heart. And you recently brought on Jack Butcher, who was president of Hagerty, done 9 years of being president of Hagerty. So that come with duties of fiduciary duties of reporting as a public traded company, quarterly earnings, shareholder letters with the CEO, right? What are some of those decisions like that you said, okay, this is my USI stage, and led you to the Marsh stage, and ultimately led you to Vantage, which is your baby today in your builder world, your founder world, and you and Matt met there. And the first time Matt told me about Vantage and the mechanics of what Vantage is, how Vantage grow, and I thought that was brilliant. I know I just went a long-winded questions, but I'd love to hear your mind of what make you want to create Vantage. And then when you were like, I got to put a team together, what's your mindset on how to build a team? What's your vision on how to build the best team?
Thank you for all your support to our channel. Here is a quick word from our sponsor. Please click on the link below in the comment section to sign up for a demo with Track AI.
What if your insurance sales conversations could work harder for you? Meet Track, your AI-powered conversation intelligence partner. Track automatically captures and analyzes every customer interaction, providing instant call summaries, risk analysis, and AI-driven coaching insights. Say goodbye to manual note-taking and hello to more selling time. Track handles the admin work while you handle the revenue. Fully integrated with your favorite platforms. Plus, get custom AI analysis tailored to your unique business needs. Transform your sales team's performance with Track. Visit track.ai today.
Click the link in the description below to schedule a demo with Track today.
Here's the fabric of that blueprint that I share that I found effective for me. Too many leaders, when they are going to take on a new challenge, if you're at USI and I was sent to Texas, for example, because I needed some help there, and California, and then back to Texas with MMA, Marsh McLennan Agency. And there was a gentleman named Dave Eslick, who was the head of USI. And I have the highest respect and friendship for Dave. He left USI and went on then to form MMA, and I joined him there later. And he and I was facing a tough situation in California. I was trying to turn an acquisition around that had not gone well a year later. And he'd call me on Sundays, say, how's it going? Because I was, you're there alone. And we talked through everything from confidence cracks to what had to be done that was going to be very difficult. Jeff, sometimes we've just lost the art of communication. We stopped talking to each other. We started talking about each other. And blame became a baseline for behavior. So I'll tell you this, how do I build successful teams? I believe that the team that was there, no matter where I went, were good, gifted talent until proven otherwise. I never went there taking my own people. That's what happens a lot. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to make changes. Absolutely, I've had to. But I never went there thinking, oh, well, if they're not performing, it must be them. But oftentimes it wasn't. It was at the C-suite. And once you make the hard decisions, people start to follow, and they recruit good people, and loyalty starts to develop. And I trusted people just to make decisions. Because the best leaders, and I don't put myself in that fraternity or sorority, but I've played, competed, and worked with the greatest. They just don't settle. They don't settle on themselves, but they expect more than what people believe in themselves. And that leader breaks ties and handles the impossible question. Otherwise, we get out of the way. We're for people. We're closers, we're strategists, we're consultants, and we're facilitators. We have to be strategic thinking, we have to facilitate, we got to close, we got to be decisive, but we have to be consultative. And if you could be those four individuals, then the crowds will follow you.
Now, with all of these things that you've done, and obviously you love being an educator, love being a teacher, coach, we can hear that and sense that and how you speak about it. You've obviously been a mentor for so many people. I can tell that, I feel like you're like that for us a lot of times. Has there been one person, or were there several people that you really looked at and were like, this is who I want to be, that's the path I want to follow? Or are you making it up as you go? Who's really had an impact on you? Because I feel like that's really important, whether it's in person or several.
I'm an eclectic mosaic of all the humanity and personalities that I've been blessed to connect with. I don't know how the listeners will take this. I never want to put pressure on one person that they had to be held to such a standard that they couldn't fail. Mm-hmm. There's some people who start to play the game softer and easier because they just can't handle how others will see them or think of them. They'll let somebody down. So I didn't want to put that pressure on anyone. I spread it out because at the end, I knew this, you're alone. Mm-hmm. Because of what I said earlier about people have to put themselves in the agenda. And when you form a personal board of directors, you have to have people around you who are strong and tough and will tell you the truth, but are not emotionally tied to you. That I wish I could tell you that every time I wrote a book, or even the first time, everybody's like, oh, great idea, Anthony. Oh, fantastic. We're behind. They weren't, because it's hard. Like, they love you. And what if you fail? Or what if you pass and they think whether you leave them behind or whatever it might be. So I guess, Sarah, the truth of it is that we are this mosaic of eclectic behaviors that we become to each other. Because at the end, change is for everyone. Can't stop it. You can't. Those people change everything but me, You can't stop change, but you can stop evolution. You can stop evolution. And evolution is for the motivated. And if you're not motivated and you're not evolving, then you are going to not only stagnate yourself, but you will hurt everyone around you that you love and work with. Because if you settle, what choice do they have?
Amazing.
What is this? You talked about having a personal board or a personal advisory board. I got to know more about that. When did you start doing that? How did you come up with that?
Long time, really long time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I feel like I feel like I need one of these because right now my personal advisory board might be my wife. I don't.
Yeah,
and there is
she'll be
a
great.
connection there.
She'll be great, but it's too close.
Yeah.
Personal board directors they're actually a very formalized situation. They'll serve 2 years. You meet, virtually if you have to, but I recruit them from very different backgrounds and walks of life. You share your life mission with them. You share the risks, the pitfalls, the strategies, the triumphs, the danger zones, and you listen to what their opinions are and what they think about. It's incredibly powerful, and oh my God, it opens up.
What if we, you never know. We have Elon who walks among us, so you never know what type of thing he might offer us. So if you got another 70 years to put into the space,
God
right?
save the world, yeah.
Your background is in the brokerage space, in the insurance space. What would future Anthony get involved in? You have your background that's still intact, but what do you see as you would do over maybe even the next 20 years if you were gonna get involved with something?
Yeah, no, I could, because I'm doing it now. I'm fascinated, and I am become a junkie with artificial intelligence. Years ago, I met Chetan Dubey, who was the father of artificial intelligence in New York. He created Amelia, the first Android, and he and I spent some real quality time together. And I believe this for the next, where my head is and what I'm studying, is that people should not fear this, because what's happening is they're worried about jobs and rightfully so, other things. But if us as humans can take time to create again, think creatively, and keep being builders, then the world gets even healthier. So I really study it with Copilot, ChatGPT, and a bunch of others. I've engaged with the technology of androids. I've spoken to one. And here's an example. In speaking to one, and this was an early prototype. We were in a room, and she had short blonde hair, navy suit, string of pearls, moved like any other human female would move. And it was really took me off balance. And I asked her, I said, what's the difference between you and I? Because remember, Chetan Dubey and the great founders of artificial intelligence believe that by the year 2030, I think it maybe moved a little bit, that you won't be able to tell the difference between a carbon-based life form and an android passing on the street. And when I asked her, I said, what's the difference between you and I? She tilted her head to the side as though she was just thinking like you and I would think. And she looked at me square on the face and said, well, Anthony, you have a soul. Now, that was generations of that mind ago. I'm not afraid of this. I'm not afraid of this at all. I think, though, that if we look at all this technology and think how to free ourselves up, because this was all created by mankind. Wow. And using your words, next 20 years, hell, next 20 minutes, what it could look like.
What should we be doing to get involved as entrepreneurs, founders, employees? If we are scared, or if we're not scared, or we just outside of, I know my wife uses Chat GPT, and every once in a while when I click on Google now, it like does it for me when I search. How do I start looking into it for my business? How do I,
No,
get involved?
I would suggest this, that if it's like having a team of people around, then we should try harder things because we have those tools available that our parents did not, or others. If I have that ability to ask ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever to blend 6 of my PowerPoint presentations and give me the best, and then say to it, do me a favor, critique your own work, and it can critique its own work and improve it again. Shouldn't I, if I don't want to get run over by it or be able to use it, challenge myself to something even harder? So if you're going to build an insurance and affinity group or something different, or you're going to combine surety with property and casualty, it's got a sidebar and personal lines or whatever you're going to do, then do it. Think of something harder, but don't sit in the same chair while this other orchestra is playing around you and then say, it's, oh, woe is me, I'm going to get overwhelmed. Well, you damn well should, because yeah. But if you say, what can I do to challenge myself? See, that's the beautiful thing about life on the edge, isn't it? I love life on the edge. Here's why. People are like, I don't want to get on the edge. It's dangerous. You can fall, you get killed, you get hurt, you get embarrassed. People, blah, blah. But here's the thing. If you're the one on the edge and you fail, there's nobody even knew, because you're the only one on the edge. So, but if you're on the edge and you're successful, then you can go get them. Say, come on. And now they're on the foundational part of it, no longer ledge. You look for the next ledge. If anything, if you're a work in progress, you should be looking for the ledge. The ledge gets your edge sharper. But I can't tell you at times, I don't know about you, but you go to places and the conversation's the same all the time. Oh my God, Murray, my sciatica is killing me. Oh, I don't know what medicine I take. Oh, my kids are growing up so fast. Oh my God, the community's not like it used to be. Oh, Jesus, did you see what's on Fox? What the hell is that? That's not the edge. That's not the
like where my
edge.
parents live.
Right, no, yeah.
That is awesome. Well, we loved having you on here, Anthony. What I want to go into in our last few minutes here is, and you probably could answer this 100 ways knowing you, but can you give some advice to the entrepreneur, and I'll put myself in this bucket, who's, younger entrepreneur, and maybe not by age, but just maybe newer in the entrepreneur world, and who's got maybe a family going on, maybe just other things outside. I'd love to hear your advice of 2 things. One, what we should do when we're having that day where we just want to quit. And 2, what's a great mechanism that maybe worked for you? Because for me, it's not the door threshold, but how do I turn the entrepreneur hat off, or at least dim it, when I go home to my family, friends, whatever, so you aren't, where work isn't who you are. That's the one thing I definitely wanted to get out of you.
I'll take the latter part first, then I'll go to the former. Don't bring work home. Don't even talk about it, because the next day we're out solving the problem. We're back in the game doing something, but all we did was leave all the stress at home. I go to just, if you're just in a restaurant, people aren't back then, like, not having an hour of conversation. They're just on their devices. The kids are on the devices. Such a sadness to that scene. So don't take it home, because home doesn't deserve it. They don't get paid to do it. And in fact, all they're going to do is worry about you. Talk to your partner or your spouse about, don't keep them out of it because it's impactful, but don't keep grinding on it. The other thing is, don't take yourself so seriously. It's just a game. Don't take yourself so seriously. Second, you're more ready than you think you are right now. And I learned that. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just like, how am I going to do this? But guess what? You're more ready than you think you were. And the last piece, you don't have as much time as you think. Don't take yourself too seriously. You don't have as much time as you think, and you're more ready than you thought you were right now. And don't put on others the stress that they don't deserve to carry, because kids will feel it. So I learned about being around people with autism or adjudicated kids or natural orphans or people that lost everything or who have been given so much to complain so often.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah,
go get it. Just go get it. Be fearless.
that hits home for me, truthfully. That advice, and I was hoping to get something from you, selfishly on this. Even though having you on, I wanted to get some of my own struggles out, and those are definitely things to take to heart, because as you're stating them off, I'm sitting in my head thinking about 2 days ago when I told my wife about the bad day, or 3 days ago when I said, hey, I can't put so and so to bed tonight because I got to go get back on the computer for this fire. And I think you sharing those hopefully hits home. It did for me, and then I hope I go change. And I think that's the biggest thing when anybody gives advice, is I think, especially the way you deliver messages, is that it's got to hit home. But then I think the next challenge is like, have it hit home and then stick, and then and do something about it. So I really appreciate your time. Is there anything before we wrap up that you want to leave the audience with, or something we didn't get into that is super passionate, or just want to get out on the AI atmosphere here?
No, I think I would just close with this, is that I hope that as people see what the three of you are doing, you're to be congratulated. The fact that you sometimes people hear a podcast and they don't know what went into it. And this is new edge stuff for the three of you. You never did this before. You're doing it really well. This is new to you, but it doesn't seem like it. So I would ask the listener to learn more about you, listen to your podcasts, and think about if they were a guest on a show, how they would answer these questions. What would they have said today if they had been sitting where I'm sitting? But I think the three of you should be highly regarded and congratulated for getting on your own edge and getting out there. Well done.
Thank you very much. Definitely on the edge here, and we appreciate you coming on early in our journey on the edge. And we'll take your advice to heart, and look forward to connecting with you outside of a Zoom recording here soon, as we both live in Florida. And thanks again for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I really
Thank you, Anthony.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
All right, thanks, Matt. Thank you.